the current debate over casual sex, friends with benefits versus committed relationships, right? Because there's a similar argument going on today or after the sexual revolution, which is committed relationships, marriage, someone who loves you. That's so much work. What if you could just split out each of the parts of this committed relationship? Okay, so you use Uber Eats instead of someone who cooks for you, right? You use TaskRabbit instead of someone who helps you do your chores. And even sex, you can find someone who doesn't love you, but just wants to have sex with you, right? So this is hopefully a key discussion that our modern audience would relate to as well, because it's fundamentally about can you almost disentangle sex from the love, right?
Yes, that is right. And the way that the first half of the dialogue progresses is to show how much is being missed. It's not that it couldn't work. It could be very efficient.
Right.
But how much is missed if you restrict yourself to this?
Let me give you a quote from your work. One of the functions served by conventional erotic behavior was to mark off sexual relationships between aristocratic peers from those commercially procured from prostitutes. Accordingly, the outrageous twist in the arguments of the non-lover is that by poo-pooing the traditional agonies, he comes close to using the boy as his whore. He is buying sex from him, not with coin, of course, but with the value for money of a trouble-free friendship. Through reason, or at least some reduced version of reason, the friendship, the romance, becomes a relationship of prostitution. And that gave me a lens to view casual sex today, where it's, in some sense, it's transactional and it's like prostitution. But instead of one giving sex and pleasure and the other paying it with money, in casual sex, you're just paying each other with sex. But it still has that kind of rational, transactional nature.
Yes, we've experienced this with hookup culture, which luckily seems to have, well, I don't know, but it did seem to, I certainly noticed a lot of adverse press against it. It seems to have burned itself out, thankfully.
Before we get to Socrates' arguments for love, what's interesting is that Socrates is, after Lysias, forced into giving a speech against love. And so they're like, well, Socrates, you give a better speech. So tell us about Socrates' speech against love.
Well, there are two interesting things about it, two big developments. One is it's a bad idea for the boy to bind his destiny to a person that is in passionate love, because it's a desire that will lead the lover to want to completely dominate and entrap the young boy. So it is based on, rather than being based on a completely transactional economic argument, as Lysias's, almost economic argument, as Lysias's non-lover's speech was. This starts by describing the difference between reason and desire, giving an analysis of the soul, and disparaging romantic love as, desire overwhelming reason, to cast the relationship in a really bad light. It's a kind of morally improved version of the same argument that you shouldn't go there. Do not engage in a passionate relationship, but instead keep your reason in charge.
Right. So Lysias says,